Futures trading involves a substantial risk of loss and may not be suitable for all investors. Therefore, carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial conditions.
Blue Line Futures. In Chicago, Oliver, you don't have your biker helmet on yet, so I guess, that comes on 15 minutes before the release?
Yeah, that's it. My helmet, my shin pads, and knee pads. I should be good to go. Highly anticipated report, as you kind of alluded to. This is a big one. We get some potential yield adjustments for corn and soybeans. The average analyst estimate for corn is for a drop of 2 bushels per acre down to 184, and then for beans it's down 0.3 of a bushel to 52.7. Then we've got ending stocks and quarterly stocks data as well. So a lot of data coming at the market at once, which is ultimately, I think, what this market needs. If you zoom out and look at some of these markets, in particular the corn market, we have just been a stick in the mud for the better part of the last 3 weeks, trading mostly sideways within, call it a 10-15 cent trading range. And here we are going into this report smack dab in the middle of that trading range. I remain optimistic that we can potentially make a move to the upside, but we're going to need a bullish fundamental catalyst from the USDA to do that. If you look at last year, at this time, a lot of similarities coming into this report. We've got the average daily trading range at the lowest levels since last January. That January report last year is really what turned the tide for this corn market, to kind of kick it into gear to get kind of an early spring rally. So I'm hopeful we can see an identical trade to that in corn, but it's just kind of wait and see for now.
Okay, so when we're looking at these reports, I believe corn has gone lower. USDA's lowered their final corn yield 3 out of the last 5 and 7 out of the last 10. And the numbers 4 out of the last 5 for beans. Could that happen again?
That's the expectation, right? And so when we're looking at what is the market expecting and how the market's going to react, we're looking at trading the expectations, basically. As I mentioned, you got a 182 average estimate on yield. That's the line in the sand, although the last USDA report was at 184. Everyone's trading the 182. So to get a bullish tailwind in this market, I think you need to come in below 182, and that would be the potential catalyst for that. And then for soybeans, you're trading the expectations of 52.7. For a friendly reaction, you want to see yield come in below that. Obviously, there's other data points that are going to be watched very closely as well with regards to exports and ending stocks.
Hey, we're looking at the 6 month right now in new crop beans, and I think it's interesting because we saw that spike back in November after the announcement we'd see sales of 12 million metric tons to China. They're getting pretty close to that. If we go over 12 million metric tons, could that be a positive for this market, no matter what happens in this report?
I think that could be a positive for the market. I think that China's back in the market at all is a positive. We're back to trading at levels that we were at prior to China being in the conversation. Now they're back to the table and buying U.S. beans. I think that's ultimately supportive to the market. Obviously, there's a lot of other, geopolitical factors at play here, especially with regards to what's been transpiring with Venezuela as of late. It'll be interesting to see, how that translates into relationships with China as well as other countries going forward. But to see China back in the market, certainly encouraging. Once we move past this report, we're going to be obviously watching South American weather very closely. But before soon, we're going to be talking about acres planted in the U.S. So there's still a lot of uncertainties about what the U.S. is going to be able to produce and what they will put in the ground. And so I think there's still some opportunity for some upside in this new crop soybean market from here.
We're talking with Oliver Sloup, Blue Line Futures. Quick break, back with more markets on Market Day Report. We're across the board. Oliver Sloup's with Blue Line Futures. Oliver, again, cash looks like 233, maybe 232 early in the week. Last week. So is this the expectation for packers having to spend a little extra money in the coming week?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, when you zoom out and kind of look at where the market's at right now, I think you can make the case that it's probably somewhat fair valued here. And I think you're seeing prices reflect that. Saw a little bit of a weaker and softer trade last week, but basically just retraced the breakout point from that first trading day of the year, which was January 2nd. The fact that we were able to hold that and defend that is certainly encouraging. But I think the big question is how much upside potential is left from here. Obviously, the cash market going to be very important. But I think, we're entering a time time period and market environment where this may be a little bit more of a trader's paradise, where you can do a little back and forth trading from a speculative front and maybe from a hedge perspective as well. Looking at the 14-day average true range, you talked about trading in about a $2 range. That's really what we've been in for the last 2 weeks. The average trading range, $2.50 over the last 14 sessions. So that's manageable. If you think back to where we were trading at in November, that average true range was about $6.50. So that has come in quite a bit. Volatility has shriveled up, and I think that provides a little bit more shorter term opportunities for traders.
Oliver, I have to admit, I had a squirrel moment. You said Trader's Paradise, and all I could think of was that song Gangster's Paradise just rolling in my head there. So thanks for that. Oliver Sloup is with Blue Line Futures.
Futures trading involves a substantial risk of loss and may not be suitable for all investors. Therefore, carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition. All information, communications, publications, and reports, including the specific material used and distributed by Blue Line Futures LLC, shall be construed as or is in the nature of a solicitation for entering into a futures transaction. Blue Line Futures LLC does not employ research analysts or maintain a research department as defined in CFTC Regulation 1.71.